The council chamber was full. Every seat was taken. Delegates who normally sent assistants came in person. This was the final vote. This would decide humanity's place in the galaxy. Jiho stood at the speaking platform. Behind him, his team sat in neat rows. Heywan was there with Baram at her feet. The dog's paws were almost healed. He looked alert but calm, watching the crowd with interest. "Before you vote," Jiho began, "I want to address the concerns that have been raised." The chamber was silent. Everyone listened. "Some of you fear that our bond with dogs makes us dangerous. You worry that a species capable of turning predators into companions might turn that skill toward control. Toward manipulation. Toward conquest." Jiho's voice was clear and strong. "I understand that fear, but it is based on a misunderstanding." He gestured to the hologram behind him. Images appeared. Dogs and humans through history, working together, playing together, living together. We did not conquer dogs. We did not break them. We invited them into our lives, and they chose to come. That choice, that mutual decision, is what created the bond. It cannot be forced. It cannot be faked. It must be earned through trust and time and love. Threx spoke up. "But you have shown great influence. You changed an entire species." "We changed together," Jiho corrected. "Humans are different because of dogs too. They taught us loyalty. They taught us unconditional love. They taught us to see value in creatures different from ourselves. We became better because of them. That is what partnership means." Dr. Yuna stood and joined Jiho at the platform. "When humans first encountered other species on Earth, we made many mistakes. We hunted some to extinction. We destroyed habitats. We caused great harm. But we learned. Dogs were part of that learning. They showed us that working with nature instead of against it created better outcomes for everyone." Deep Current raised an appendage to speak. His water suit bubbled. "I have been thinking much about this. My people chose safety through elimination. We removed all threats, but we also removed all possibility of bonds like yours. Was that the right choice?" "Only you can answer that," Yuna replied gently. "Every species must make their own decisions. We are not here to tell you that our way is the only way. We are only asking you to accept that it is our way." Kip floated forward. The small rendering glowed softly. "I have a question for Captain Heywan." "May I ask it?" Heywan stood up. "Please. What do you think Baram has gained from this bond? Humans speak of what dogs give us, but what do we give them?" Heywan smiled. She looked down at Baram. The dog looked back at her with complete trust. "We give them purpose," she said. "In the wild, wolves lived hard lives. They hunted constantly. Many died young. They faced danger every day. Dogs live longer now. They live safer. But more than that, they live with meaning. Baram knows his job is to help me. That gives his life structure and purpose. We give them food and shelter, yes, but we also give them a reason to be." She paused, then continued, "And we give them love. Wild wolves love their pack, but the pack can be harsh. The pack abandons the weak. But humans do not abandon our dogs. When Baram is old and cannot work anymore, I will still care for him. I will still love him. He knows this. That security, that unconditional acceptance is our gift to them." Bora stood up next. "I want to add something. People think dogs exist to serve us. But that is wrong. They are not servants. They are family. When my dog Nubby was sick, I spent thousands of credits on her care. She could not work. She could barely move. But I never considered letting her go. Because you do not give up on family." Taeyang joined them. "I am a soldier. I have seen combat. I have lost friends. After the war, I had nightmares. I could not sleep. I could not function. The military gave me medals and therapy. It helped, but not enough. Then I met Hana. She was a rescue dog, abandoned and scared. We healed each other. She needed someone to trust. I needed someone to care for. We saved each other. That is what the bond does. It saves us both." The council members listened. Some took notes. Some simply watched. The air in the chamber felt different now. Heavy with possibility. Prism spoke, the Keldan's voice carrying clearly. "I have come to a conclusion. This debate is not really about dogs. It is about philosophy. It is about how we view the universe." "Explain," Threx requested. "Most galactic species see the universe as hierarchical. Strong over weak, predator over prey. Each species fighting to survive and dominate. But humans see it differently. They see possibility for cooperation, for mutual benefit, for love between different kinds of beings. Prism's body flickered with thought. Perhaps they are naive, or perhaps they have discovered something we missed. An elder alien stood up. She was from a species called the Thorn, rarely seen in council. She looked ancient and wise. "I am old," she said. Her voice crackled. "I have seen many species join this council. All came with technology, with weapons, with resources to trade. Humans came with a dog. At first I thought this was foolish. Now I think it might be the wisest thing I have witnessed." The chamber stirred. The Thorn Elder was respected. Her words carried weight. "We have built a galaxy of walls," she continued. "Walls between species. Walls between predator and prey. Walls between us and anything we fear. We thought these walls made us strong, but they only made us isolated. Humans show us another way. They show us bridges instead of walls." Jiho felt hope rising in his chest, but he kept his expression neutral. The vote had not happened yet. Threx stood on multiple legs. "I must speak honestly. This frightens me. Everything about it frightens me. The lack of control, the emotional components, the risk. But I have watched the humans these past days. I have seen how they treat their dog, how they treat each other, how they treat us even though we hurt their companion in testing. They show kindness even when it is not earned. Perhaps that is worth the fear." "I call for the vote," Prism announced. "All in favor of granting full membership to humanity, including acceptance of their companion animals and their cultural practices. Signal now." Lights began appearing around the chamber. Green for yes, red for no. Jiho watched them count up. His heart pounded. Green, green, green. Yellow for abstaining. Green, green. More green than he dared hope. When the count finished, the result was clear. Humanity had won, not unanimously but by a strong majority. "Motion passes," Prism declared. "Welcome to the Galactic Council, humanity. Welcome officially and completely." The human delegation erupted in controlled celebration. They hugged each other. Haywan bent down and hugged Barum. The dog's tail wagged so hard his whole body wiggled. Later, after the formal ceremonies, after the documents were signed, after the official photos were taken, a small gathering formed in the human quarters. Aliens who had voted yes came to visit. They brought congratulations, but more importantly, they brought questions. "Could my species form bonds like yours?" a young Vex asked. "Are there animals on my world we could partner with?" "I do not know," Yuna admitted, "but I think it is worth exploring. The key is finding species with the right temperament. Animals that are social, animals that can learn, animals that want to be near others. Would you help us learn?" Deep Current asked. "Would you teach us about forming these bonds?" Jiho smiled. "Of course. That is what being part of the council means. We share knowledge. We help each other grow." Prism floated closer to Baram. The dog looked up at the crystalline being with curiosity. "May I touch him?" Prism asked. "Yes," Haywan said. Gently, Prism extended a crystalline edge. Carefully, so carefully touched Baram's head. The dog remained still, then leaned slightly into the touch. "He is warm," Prism said with wonder. "I can feel his heartbeat. His life force is so strong, so present. That is what living things feel like," Haywan said softly, "when you let them close enough to touch." The gathering continued late into the night cycle. Aliens and humans talking, sharing stories. Barum fell asleep in the middle of the room, surrounded by beings from a dozen worlds. He snored softly, completely content. The young ones, both alien and human, sat around the sleeping dog. They marveled at how peaceful he looked. "How trusting, I want this," one young Morith said. "I want to know what it feels like to be trusted like that." "Then you will have to be trustworthy," Borod told the young alien. "Trust is earned. It takes time and patience and kindness, but it is worth every moment." Weeks later, as the human delegation prepared to return to Earth, they received unexpected news. 3 species had requested cultural exchange programs focused on animal bonding. The Morath wanted to try reintroducing controlled predator populations to learn from them. The Vex wanted to study their world's pack animals. Even the Keldon, who had no biological animals, wanted to explore artificial bonds with robotic companions. "We started something," Jiho said to his team on the transport home. "Something bigger than we imagined." We showed them it was possible, Haywan corrected. She sat with Baram's head in her lap. They will take it from here. Taeyang looked out at the stars. Do you think it will work? Will other species be able to form bonds like ours? I do not know, Yuna admitted. Every species is different. Every bond will be unique, but I believe the possibility exists. We proved that much. As Earth came into view, Baram stirred. He lifted his head and looked around. Somehow he seemed to know he was going home. Admiral Wu Jin watched the video for the 10th time. On the screen, a small honey badger destroyed an alien monster that should have killed it easily. The video had been sent from the Resilience 3 days ago, just before the Valorian Empire attacked Earth's outer colonies. Play it again, he said. His aide sighed but started the video over. They'd been in this meeting room for 6 hours and everyone was tired. But Earth needed a plan and they needed it now. The Valorian fleet had hit the Mars research station first. 200 people died in minutes. Then they attacked the Jupiter mining facilities. More deaths. Earth's military tried to fight back, but the alien weapons were too strong. Human ships exploded before they could even get close. We can't win with normal weapons, Wu Jin said. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours. Our missiles, our railguns, our lasers, nothing works. Dr. Hana stood up. She'd been quiet for most of the meeting, but now she looked excited. Then we don't use normal weapons. We use Earth's secret advantage. What advantage? We're primitives compared to them? Exactly. We're primitives. We evolved on a death world. Hana pulled up images on the main screen. Pictures of honey badgers, wolverines, Cape buffalo, cassowaries, and other animals appeared. The Valorians think they're tough because they conquered 400 worlds. But I checked their database. Every world they conquered was easier than Earth. Lighter gravity, fewer predators, safer environments. So Earth is a nightmare planet compared to most worlds. Our animals evolved to survive conditions that would kill most alien life. High gravity, extreme weather, thousands of predator species all competing for survival. The Valorians use bioweapons, but their bioweapons were designed to scare civilized species. They've never faced something that evolution spent millions of years making unkillable. Wu Jin started to understand. You want to use animals as weapons? Not as weapons. As soldiers, partners. Hana's eyes shined with passion. That honey badger didn't kill the dreadmaw because we trained it. It killed the dreadmaw because that's what honey badgers do. They don't back down. They don't feel fear the way we do. And they're not alone. Earth has hundreds of species like that. A woman raised her hand. She was Nari, one of Earth's best wildlife experts. Dr. Hana is right. I've worked with dangerous animals my whole life. The Valorians don't understand what they're facing. They think they're at the top of the food chain. They've never met Earth's food chain. Wu Jin leaned back in his chair. The idea was crazy, but crazy might be all they had. How would this work? We need equipment, Hana said. Spacesuits for animals, deployment systems, tracking technology. We need someone who can build that. I can do it. Everyone turned. A young man stood in the doorway. He wore an engineer's uniform. I'm Taeyang. I work in the military research division. I've been listening to your conversation and I think I can help. Wu Jin waved him in. Explain. Taeyang walked to the screen and pulled up some designs. I've been working on powered armor for extreme environments. We could adapt it for animals. Make it bigger or smaller depending on the species. Add oxygen systems, temperature control, and protection from space radiation. The animals would be comfortable and safe. Could you make it fast? Wu Jin asked. Give me 2 weeks and unlimited resources. I'll make you an army. Wu Jin made his decision. You have both. Dr. Hana, coordinate with Nari. I want a list of every animal species that could help us. Taeyang, start building. I'll handle the military side. What military side? Hana asked. Someone has to lead these animals in battle. Someone has to coordinate them and work with them as a team. Wu Jin pressed a button on his desk. Send in Lieutenant Sora. A young woman entered the room. She was small but moved like a fighter. Her file said she'd been a Special Forces soldier before joining the space program. She also volunteered at animal shelters in her free time. Lieutenant, how would you like to lead Earth's first animal combat unit? Sora's face showed confusion, then understanding, then excitement. Sir, are you serious? Completely. You'll work with Dr. Hana and Nari to train with various Earth animals. Taeyang will provide equipment. In 2 weeks, you'll deploy to New Jeju colony. The Valorians have taken it over and enslaved our people. Your mission is to take it back. With animals, sir? With the toughest animals Earth ever made. The 2 weeks passed in a blur. Hana and Nari gathered animals from all over Earth. Not pets, but wild animals that knew how to fight and survive. They didn't hurt the animals or change them. They just gave them the tools they needed. Taeyang worked 20-hour days building armor and equipment. He made small suits for honey badgers that protected them but let them move freely. He made larger suits for wolverines and other mid-sized animals. He even made special gear for wolves, giving them shield generators that let them run through enemy fire. Sora trained with all of them. She learned how each animal thought, how they moved, how they hunted. The honey badgers were fearless but needed to be pointed at the target. The wolves worked as a team naturally. The Cape buffalo were living tanks that could smash through almost anything. On deployment day, Wu Jin came to see them off. The cargo bay was filled with animals in their new armor, all calm and ready. Sora stood with her team of rangers, 20 soldiers she'd picked personally. Each soldier had trained with specific animals. "This is insane," Wu Jin said, but he was smiling. "I'm sending animals to fight an alien empire." "Not just animals, sir," Sora said. "Earth's finest." The ship launched toward New Jeju. The colony was small, just 5,000 people. The Valorians had taken it easily, putting everyone in work camps. They had a small garrison of troops, maybe 200 soldiers. They didn't expect a counterattack. Sora's team dropped from orbit in stealth pods. They landed outside the main Valorian base at night. The plan was simple: cause chaos, free the prisoners, and show the galaxy what Earth could do. "Release the honey badgers," Sora whispered into her radio. 3 honey badgers burst from their pods. They wore armor that made them look like small tanks. Their mission was simple: attack everything alien. They didn't need more instruction than that. The honey badgers hit the Valorian base like a meteor strike. They tore through fences, ignored energy weapons that bounced off their armor, and went straight for enemy soldiers. The Valorians had never seen anything like it. How do you fight something that doesn't feel pain and refuses to stop? While the honey badgers caused chaos, Sora led the wolves in. 10 gray wolves in shield armor moved like ghosts through the base. They hunted down Valorian officers with precision that made human special forces look clumsy. The Cape buffalo came last. 2 massive animals in heavy armor simply walked through the main gate, destroying it. They charged through the vehicle depot, crushing alien tanks and ships like toys. The battle lasted 30 minutes. When it ended, the Valorian garrison had surrendered. They'd lost half their troops to animals that weighed less than 100 pounds each. The freed human prisoners stared in disbelief. Sora transmitted a message back to Earth. "Mission complete. No human casualties. The animals are effective. Request permission to continue operations." Admiral Wu Jin authorized 15 more missions. By the end of the month, Earth had taken back 12 colonies. The Valorian Empire watched in growing horror as their soldiers were defeated by creatures they'd never imagined could be dangerous. The Beast Protocol was born, and Earth was just getting started. The Valorian High Council met in their Crystal Palace on Valorax Prime, the throne world of their empire. 17 council members sat in a circle, their bodies glowing with angry red light. They had never lost a war before. Now they were losing to animals. 17 colonies, said Council Member Felnix. "We have lost 17 colonies to Earth's creatures. Our soldiers are terrified. They refuse to fight honey badgers. They run from wolves." "How did this happen?" Supreme Commander Thelvax stood in the center of the circle. His light flickered with shame. "The humans are using biological warfare in ways we never expected. Their animals are more aggressive than anything we've encountered. They don't respond to pain or fear the way civilized beings do. Then we must attack Earth directly," said another council member. "Destroy their homeworld before they can spread these creatures across the galaxy." "No," Thelvax said. "They will expect that. Instead, we will fortify Valorax Prime. Let them come to us. We will crush them here in front of the whole galaxy. We will show everyone that the Valorian Empire is still supreme." The council agreed. They pulled back their fleets and surrounded their homeworld with every ship they had. Thousands of vessels, all armed with the Empire's best weapons. They built orbital defense platforms and deployed their remaining bioweapons on the planet's surface. If Earth wanted to win this war, they would have to take Valorax Prime. Admiral Wu Jin saw the Valorian fleet gathering and smiled. "They think they're setting a trap. They don't realize they've just trapped themselves." Captain Jiho stood beside him on the bridge of the Resilience. The ship had been rebuilt as a carrier for animal deployment pods. Sir? Intelligence reports show at least 3,000 Valorian ships defending the planet. We have 200 ships. The numbers aren't good. The numbers don't matter. We're not fighting a normal battle. Wu Jin pulled up a tactical display. Dr. Hana, are your teams ready? Dr. Hana appeared on a smaller screen. She was in the deployment bay, surrounded by hundreds of animals in their armor. All teams ready, Admiral. We have 200 honey badgers, 50 wolverines, 30 Cape buffalo, and a special surprise from Taeyang. What surprise? Taeyang's face appeared on another screen. He looked excited. I've been growing rhinoceros beetles in low gravity. They're now the size of tanks. We have 5 of them. Their natural armor is incredibly strong, and they can lift hundreds of times their own weight. I've added rockets to their shells. Wu Jin laughed. It was insane. All of this was insane, but it was working. Deploy when ready. Lieutenant Sora led the first wave. She sat in a small attack ship with her ranger team. Each ranger had an animal companion they'd trained with. Sora's partner was Baksoon herself, the original honey badger who'd started everything. The small animal sat calmly in her special armor, watching the approaching planet with dark eyes. Remember, Sora said to her team, we're not trying to destroy the planet. We're targeting military installations and the palace. The Valorian civilians are not our enemy, only their military. Understood, the Rangers replied. The deployment began. Pods launched from Earth ships like meteors, too small and fast for the Valorian weapons to track. They burned through the atmosphere and landed across the capital city. Doors opened, and Earth's animals emerged. The Valorians had prepared for a normal invasion. They had troops in position, tanks on the streets, aircraft in the sky. They were ready for human soldiers. They were not ready for honey badgers. 200 honey badgers in powered armor spread through the city. They attacked military checkpoints with savage efficiency. Valorian soldiers shot them with energy weapons, but the armor protected them. The badgers didn't slow down. They didn't stop. They just kept coming, destroying everything that looked like a threat. One group of Valorians tried to use a barricade to stop them. The honey badgers climbed over it, under it, and through it. Nothing stopped them. The wolverines hit next. They were bigger than the badgers and just as mean. They specialized in taking down vehicles and heavy weapons. A Valorian tank fired at a wolverine and missed. The wolverine jumped on the tank, tore open the hatch, and dragged the crew out. Captain Jiho watched from orbit as chaos spread through the enemy capital. The animals are working better than we hoped. The Valorians have no defense against them. Releasing the Cape buffalo now, Hana said. 30 massive buffalo dropped from low orbit in heavy pods. They crashed into the palace district like asteroids. When they emerged, they were unstoppable. Each buffalo weighed over a ton and wore armor that made them look like moving fortresses. They charged through the palace walls like they were made of paper. But the Valorians had one last surprise. Thelvax had been saving his strongest bioweapon for this moment. He released the Void Serpent, a creature that had destroyed 3 rebellions before. It was 50 feet long, covered in black scales that absorbed energy, and it could breathe acid. The serpent emerged from underground and attacked the buffalo. It was fast and deadly, killing 2 buffalo before they could react. The other buffalo charged it, but the serpent was too quick. Then Taeyang's surprise arrived. The 5 giant rhinoceros beetles descended from the sky on rocket power. Each beetle was the size of a city bus with a horn that could pierce steel. They'd been bred and raised for this exact purpose. The beetles swarmed the Void Serpent. The serpent was bigger, but the beetles had numbers and nature's perfect armor. They grabbed the serpent with their massive mandibles and held it still. One beetle drove its horn completely through the serpent's body. The serpent died without making a sound. Sora led her team directly to the palace throne room. They fought through elite Valorian guards, but the guards couldn't stop a combined force of rangers and animals working together. Wolves flanked the enemy while humans provided covering fire. Honey badgers attacked from unexpected angles. Baksoon led the final charge into the throne room. Thelvax stood waiting with his personal guard, 6 of the Empire's finest warriors. They were veterans of 100 battles. They had never been defeated. Baksoon didn't care about their record. She saw threats and she attacked. The battle lasted 4 minutes. The guards tried to fight her, but Baksoon was too small, too fast, too angry. She climbed up their armored bodies and found weak points. When they tried to grab her, she bit them. When they tried to shoot her, she dodged. One by one, the guards fell. Thelvac stood alone, facing a 20-pound animal that had destroyed his empire. He raised his weapon, but Sora shot it out of his hand. "It's over," Sora said. "Surrender now, and we'll show mercy." Thelvac's light dimmed to almost nothing. He looked at Baksoon, who sat calmly cleaning her paws. "That creature?"
"It's just an animal."
"How did we lose to animals?" "She's not just an animal," Sora said. "She's Earth's finest, and you should have left us alone." The Valorian Empire surrendered that day. Across the planet, their soldiers put down their weapons. The war was over. Earth had won. Admiral Wujin transmitted a message to the entire galaxy. The Valorian Empire attacked Earth without cause. We defended ourselves with the creatures that evolution made strong. Let this be a lesson. Earth desires peace, but we will not be conquered. Not by anyone, not ever. Captain Jiho stood in the ruined throne room and looked at Baksoon. The honey badger had curled up in a corner for a nap, completely unconcerned with the fact that she'd just helped conquer an empire. "We should build her a statue," Jiho said. "We should build her 100 statues," Sora replied. And eventually, they did. 3 months after the war ended, Admiral Wu Jin sat in his office reading messages from across the galaxy. Most were not friendly. The Valorian Empire had surrendered, but the rest of the galaxy was now afraid of Earth. "More protests today," his aide said, bringing in another stack of reports. "The Klaxis hegemony, the Infinite Choir, and the merchant guilds have formed a coalition. They're calling themselves the Protective Alliance. They say Earth is a threat that must be contained." Wu Jin rubbed his tired eyes. "Contained. They want to put us in a cage because we defended ourselves. They're afraid of the animals, sir. They're calling Earth a death world and saying we shouldn't be allowed to spread our creatures across civilized space. What do they want us to do? Kill all the animals that saved us? Some of them, yes. Others want Earth to surrender the animals for study, especially Baksoon." Wujin stood up fast, his chair falling over. "They want what?" The coalition sent a formal request. They want Earth to hand over the honey badger Baksoon as a gesture of goodwill. They want to study her, figure out what makes her so effective. They promise to treat her well. Absolutely not. That animal is a hero. She started this whole thing. We're not giving her to anyone. The aide looked uncomfortable. "Sir, if we refuse, they're threatening economic sanctions. No trade, no technology sharing, no cooperation. Earth will be isolated." Wu Jin sat back down. This was a different kind of war, fought with politics instead of weapons. "Get me Dr. Hana, Nari, and Captain Jiho. We need to figure this out." They met in the conference room an hour later. Dr. Hana looked angry, Nari looked scared, and Jiho looked tired. They'd all heard about the coalition's demand. "They can't have Baksoon," Hana said immediately. "She's not a weapon or a tool. She's a living creature who deserves respect and freedom." "I agree," Wujin said. "But we need to handle this carefully. The galaxy is watching. If we look too aggressive, we'll prove their fears right. If we look too weak, they'll push harder." "What about the other animals?" Nari asked. "We have hundreds of them now. What happens to them?" Lieutenant Sora entered the room. She'd been invited to join the discussion because she worked with the animals every day. "The animals are my responsibility. I've been caring for them since the war ended. Some want to retire, go back to normal lives. Others are ready to keep serving. But none of them should be handed over to aliens who see them as threats." "We need a new plan," Jiho said. "Something that shows the galaxy we're not dangerous but also proves we won't be pushed around." They spent 6 hours discussing options. Finally, Hana proposed an idea. "What if we create sanctuary worlds? Planets where Earth's animals can live naturally, protected and honored. We show the galaxy that we care about these creatures, that we're not just using them as weapons. And we could offer cooperation," Jiho added. "Share our knowledge about working with nature instead of dominating it. Show other species that Earth's approach is about partnership, not conquest." Wu Jin liked it. Taeyang's technology could help with this, not just for military use, but for rescue operations, exploration, conservation. We could make the Beast Protocol into something bigger. "The Beast Alliance," Nari said. "Not just Earth's animals, but a multi-species effort to protect and work with nature across the galaxy." They presented the plan to Earth's government, who approved it immediately. Then Wu Jin sent a message to the coalition leaders. Earth has heard your concerns. We understand that our methods during the war were unusual and frightening. But we will not apologize for defending ourselves, and we will not hand over any creature for study against their will. Instead, we offer something better: cooperation. He explained the Conservation Worlds Initiative and the Beast Alliance. Earth would establish protected planets where animals could thrive. They would share their technology for non-military purposes. They would teach other species how to work with nature instead of fighting against it. But they would do all of this on their own terms, as equals, not as prisoners or threats. The coalition leaders met to discuss Earth's proposal. The meeting lasted for 3 days. Some wanted to reject it and enforce sanctions anyway, but others saw an opportunity. The leader of the Merchant Guild spoke first. Earth's technology saved them from the Valorian Empire. That same technology could help us with disaster relief, rescue operations, and exploration of dangerous worlds. Why make enemies when we could make partners? Because they're too dangerous, argued the Klaxis representative. Their animals defeated our strongest ally in weeks. What if they turn on us next? They won't, said a new voice. Former Supreme Commander Thelvax had been invited to speak. He was no longer a commander, just a citizen trying to help his defeated people rebuild. I made the mistake of threatening Earth. They responded with overwhelming force, but they showed mercy when they won. They could have destroyed Valorax Prime. Instead, they offered peace. That's not the action of a threat. That's the action of someone who wants to be left alone. The coalition debated for another day before reaching a decision. They would accept Earth's proposal, but with conditions. Earth had to prove they were serious about cooperation. They had to share technology and knowledge, and they could not expand their military without informing the coalition first. Wu Jin accepted the terms. They were reasonable, and Earth had never wanted to be a military power anyway. They just wanted to be safe. The Conservation Worlds Initiative began immediately. Earth purchased 3 uninhabited planets from the merchant guilds and began transforming them into sanctuaries. Each planet was designed for different types of animals. One had forests and grasslands for wolves and buffalo. Another had rocky mountains for wolverines. The third was called Boksoon's World, a place where honey badgers could dig, explore, and live however they wanted. Nari led the effort to move animals to their new homes. It was careful work, making sure each creature was comfortable and happy. This isn't a zoo, she told her team. These are retirement homes for heroes. We owe them the best lives possible. Taeyang's technology spread across the galaxy. Other species started using adapted versions of his designs for their own purposes. The merchant guilds used it for deep space rescue operations. The Klaxis adapted it to help explore toxic planets. Even the former Valorian Empire used it to rebuild their damaged colonies. Captain Jiho was promoted to Ambassador Jiho. His new job was to teach other species about Earth and its creatures. He traveled to dozens of worlds giving lectures and demonstrations. People were fascinated by Earth's evolution and biodiversity. "Your planet is so violent," an alien student once said. "So many predators, so much competition. How did your species survive?" "By learning from nature instead of trying to conquer it," Jiho replied. "By respecting the creatures that evolved alongside us. By understanding that strength comes in many forms." Lieutenant Sora trained the first class of non-human rangers. Aliens from 6 different species came to Earth to learn how to work with animals. It was difficult at first. Most alien species had eliminated their dangerous wildlife thousands of years ago. They'd forgotten how to live with nature. "You have to trust them," Sora told her students. "Animals aren't machines. They're partners. Learn how they think, respect their instincts, and they'll save your life." 1 year after the war, Admiral Wu Jin retired. He'd done his job. Earth was safe, respected, and building relationships across the galaxy. His last official act was to visit Boksoon's world. The planet was beautiful. Rolling hills, deep burrows, plenty of food. Dozens of honey badgers lived there now, breeding and thriving. Boksoon herself had claimed a nice territory near a river. She had 3 cubs who were just as fearless as their mother. Wu Jin sat on a hill and watched her play with her cubs. She had no idea she was famous. She didn't know that statues of her stood on Earth and a dozen other worlds. She was just living her life, doing honey badger things. "Thank you," Wu Jin said quietly. "You saved us all." Baksun looked at him for a moment, then went back to teaching her cubs how to dig. She had more important things to do than accept thanks from an admiral. And somehow, that made it even better. 2 years had passed since the Valorian War ended. Captain Jiho, now Ambassador Jiho, stood on Earth's moon looking at the new building that had just been completed. The Interspecies Institute was massive, made of glass and steel, with sections designed for dozens of different alien biologies. Scientists from across the galaxy would come here to study how life adapted and evolved on different worlds. Dr. Hana was the Institute's first director. She walked through the halls with Jiho, showing him the different research labs. "We have teams studying everything," she said excitedly. "How gravity affects evolution, how predator-prey relationships develop, how intelligence emerges. We're learning so much." "Any discoveries about why Earth's animals are so tough?" Jiho asked. "Several. Earth has higher gravity than most inhabited worlds. Our day-night cycle is faster. Our weather is more extreme. Our moon stabilizes the planet but also causes tides that created unique evolutionary pressure. Everything about Earth pushed life to become stronger, faster, more adaptable." Hana pulled up a display showing different worlds. Most species in the galaxy evolved on easy worlds. They never needed to become as tough as Earth life. So we're the weird ones. We're the survivors. And now we're teaching everyone else how to survive too. Across the solar system, Nari led an expedition to a newly discovered planet. The world had been found by Merchant Guild explorers who reported strange ruins and signs of extinct life. Nari brought a team of xenobiologists and several Earth animals to help explore the dangerous terrain. The planet was beautiful, but deadly. Poisonous plants, acidic rain, and extreme temperature swings made it almost impossible for most species to explore. But Earth's animals, wearing their protective gear, moved through it easily. "These ruins are ancient," Nari said, examining a crumbling structure, at least 1,000,000 years old. "But look at these carvings." The carvings showed creatures that looked familiar, not exactly like Earth animals, but similar. There were images of something like a wolf, something like a bear, something that might have been a honey badger. "They had aggressive animals too," said one of the alien scientists. "Just like Earth." Nari studied the images carefully. "More than that. Look at this." She pointed to a carving showing creatures and humanoid figures working together. They partnered with their animals just like we do. This civilization understood what we're just learning. What happened to them? I don't know. But we need to find out. There might be others in the galaxy who evolved like Earth did. We might not be alone. Back on Earth, Admiral Wu Jin had been promoted to head of the Galactic Defense Compact. It was a voluntary alliance of worlds that wanted protection without having to maintain large militaries. The compact's symbol showed Baksun the honey badger next to an olive branch, representing peace through strength. Wu Jin's fleet was different from normal military forces. Instead of massive battleships, they had smaller, faster ships designed for rapid response. And every ship carried both human rangers and their animal partners. The former Valorian colonies were the first to join the compact. Thelvax, who had become a friend and advisor to Wu Jin, explained why. "We spent centuries conquering through fear. Earth showed us that real strength comes from partnership and respect. Our people want to learn that way of thinking." "It's not easy," Wu Jin warned. "Working with nature instead of dominating it requires patience and humility. We have plenty of both now. Losing the war taught us that." Lieutenant Sora had become Commander Sora, leading the Ranger Training Academy. She taught soldiers from 50 different species how to work with animals. The training was hard and many students failed. But those who succeeded became part of something special. One of her best students was a former Valorian soldier named Kexthor. He'd fought against Earth during the war and been terrified of honey badgers. Now he worked with 3 of them every day. "I used to think they were monsters," Kexthor said during a training exercise. "Now I understand they're not monsters. They're just extremely good at surviving." "That's the lesson," Sora replied. "Earth's animals aren't special because they're mean or aggressive. They're special because evolution made them survivors, and survivors take care of each other." Taeyang continued improving his technology. His latest invention was a translator device that could read animal emotions and body language, helping handlers understand their partners better. It wasn't perfect, but it helped bridge the gap between species. He was testing it with Baksoon's daughter, a young honey badger named Sona. The device showed that Sona felt curious, confident, and slightly annoyed that testing was interrupting her nap time. "Even with technology, they're still individuals," Taeyang said. "They have personalities, preferences, moods. We have to respect that." "How's the commercial version coming?" asked a Merchant Guild representative. "Lots of species want this technology for their own purposes." "Almost ready, but I'm limiting military applications. This technology is meant to help people understand nature, not exploit it." The biggest surprise came from Dr. Hana's research team. They'd been studying the ancient ruins that Nari discovered, and they'd found something incredible. There were at least a dozen civilizations in the galaxy's history that evolved on worlds like Earth, Hana announced at a major conference. They all developed similar relationships with aggressive animal species, and they all disappeared mysteriously. Around the same time, about 1,000,000 years ago. "What happened to them?" someone asked. "We don't know yet, but we found evidence that they tried to warn future civilizations. These carvings aren't just art, they're instructions. They're trying to teach us something." "Teach us what?" "How to survive something that destroyed them." The announcement sent shockwaves across the galaxy. If ancient civilizations as strong as Earth had been destroyed, what did that mean for everyone else? What threat could be so terrible that even survivors couldn't stop it? Wu Jin called an emergency meeting of the Galactic Defense Compact. "We need to investigate this thoroughly. If there's a threat out there that could destroy civilizations, we need to know about it." "But the ruins are 1,000,000 years old," someone argued. "Whatever threat existed might be long gone." "Or it might be waiting," Thelvax said quietly. "The Valorian Empire existed for 10,000 years and we thought we were invincible. Then Earth's honey badgers proved us wrong. We can't assume we understand the galaxy just because we've survived this long." The Compact authorized a massive research initiative. Teams were sent to every known ruin site. Nari led expeditions to dangerous worlds that other species couldn't explore. The animals made it possible to go places that had been unreachable before. But while they searched for ancient threats, life continued. Earth's conservation worlds thrived. The Beast Alliance grew to include 60 species. Rangers from across the galaxy trained together and formed bonds with creatures they'd never imagined working with. And on Baksoon's world, the original honey badger lived out her peaceful retirement. She was old now, by honey badger standards. Her fur had some gray in it and she moved a bit slower than before. But she was still tough, still fearless, still absolutely unwilling to back down from anything. Jiho visited her one last time, before heading out on a deep space mission. He sat on the hill where he'd sat before, watching Baksoon dig a new burrow with her grandchildren. "You changed everything, you know," he said to her. "The whole galaxy is different because of you." Baksoon paused her digging to look at him. Her dark eyes were the same as always, showing no understanding of politics or history or galactic alliances. She was just a honey badger who defended her territory when it was threatened. Nothing more, nothing less. "That's what makes it perfect," Jiho said, smiling. "You didn't try to be a hero, you just did what honey badgers do. And that was enough." Baksoon went back to digging. She had important work to do. As Jiho's ship left orbit, he looked back at Earth and the conservation world surrounding it. The galaxy had tried to conquer humanity and failed. Then it tried to contain humanity and failed. Now it was finally learning to work with humanity, and it was all because one 20-pound animal refused to give up. The galaxy still had mysteries to solve and threats to face. There were ancient warnings to decipher and dangers to prepare for. But whatever came next, the galaxy would face it together. Humans and aliens, soldiers and scientists, people and animals working as partners. Earth's beasts had proven they ruled, supreme not through domination, but through the simple, powerful act of survival. They'd shown the galaxy that toughness wasn't about size or weapons or technology. It was about never giving up, no matter what. That lesson would echo across the stars for generations to come. And somewhere on a peaceful world, a honey badger took a nap in the sun, completely unaware that she'd changed the galaxy forever, which was exactly how it should be.